fourth year and fifth year you have Maaser Sheni. Theoretically, you're supposed to bring all your fruits, all your crop to Yerushalayim and eat it there of Maaser Sheni. But what happens if you have a ton of bananas or you've got a ton of apples? You can't bring it. You're not going to bring a truck to Yerushalayim, or the food will spoil on the way to Yerushalayim. So what do? You can take your Maaser Sheni and redeem it, and then the fruit becomes regular chulin. The money has to be spent in Yerushalayim. We'll see on what you have to spend the money on. Now, when you redeem, there's a fine. You have to pay a chomesh, 1/5. But whenever they tell you have to pay a chomesh, it's not really 20%. It's actually 25%, which becomes 20% once you add it. So let's say if your value of your crop is $800, then you have to add the $200, which is 25%, which is 20% of the total amount. So you end up with $1,000. You go up to Yerushalayim, you have to spend it now on stuff that you're allowed to spend Maaser Sheni. That's what we're talking about here. So we're learning here that you cannot use the wheat for the bread, but you can use the money that you got from redeeming your wheat.
So you have to spend all that money in
Yerushalayim, everything in Yerushalayim. You can, and we'll see what you can spend it on. I'm going down to the page where we ended yesterday. Rav Nachman, I'm one of it's the white lines, the middle of the white lines at the bottom, right by the two dots. It's in the middle. Rav Nachman v'Rav Chisda d'Amrit Ravayu lo shanu ela mechitei maaser sheni, aval mechitim halekochot b'maot maaser sheni yavi, which is exactly like our Mishnah. You're allowed to use the money, but not the wheat itself. Yetiv Rabbi Yirmiyah kamed Rabbi Zera v'yetiv v'kamer. Rabbi Yirmiyah sat in front of Rabbi Zera, and they studied this. And I think this is Rabbi Zera talking. Lo shanu ela mechitei maaser sheni. You cannot use the wheat of maaser sheni for the breads of the Todah. Aval mechitim halekochot b'maot maaser sheni yavi. Same rule, but you're allowed to use the money that you got from redeeming that wheat to buy again wheat for the breads. Now Rabbi Yirmiyah answers. Amar le Rabbi ata omer ken, ani omer afilu mechitin halekochot ממעשר sheni lo yavi. I'm at the last two lines of Pei Aleph Amud Bet. Rabbi Yirmiyah says that's your.
So you can make the bread from wheat that you bought with Maaser Sheni money.
Yeah, but
that
you cannot.
Basically, where you had transferred the Maaser
Sheni exactly
from the original wheat, but you couldn't have used the original wheat.
Exactly. It's yeah, and you'll see why. They're going to explain to you why. Rabbi Yirmiyah even has a stricter view. He says you cannot even use the money that you got from redeeming Maaser Sheni for the breads, and we'll see why. So Rabbi Yirmiyah first of all gives the reasoning for Rabbi Zera, which is the same halacha that we had in the Mishnah, that you're allowed to use the money. And he says, I'm in the last line. What's your reasoning that you're allowed to use the money, the redemption money? Todah in Shlamim. Todah, you learn the rules of Todah more on the subject from Shlamim. Why? Rashi says there's a pasuk, ubasar zevach Todah shel amav. In other words, Todah belongs to the family of Shlamim. And Shlamim, where did you learn that you're allowed to use Maaser Sheni money for Shlamim? It's a Gzera Shava, Sham Maaser. If you see the two letters are Aleph and Bet, the two psukim, first pasuk on the left, V'zavachta Shlamim, V'achalta Sham, V'samachta Lifnei Hashem Elokecha. That's a general Shlamim pasuk. Second pasuk about Maaser Sheni, V'natata ha'kesef b'chol asher tovei nafshecha, b'bakar, you're allowed to spend the money on anything you want, on bakar, on so, on wine, on alcohol, b'chol asher tishalcha nafshecha, v'achalta Sham, and you shall eat there. So the word Sham, that's where we learn that you're allowed to use the Maaser Sheni money for Shlamim. And then he says, Ma Shlamim en gufan Maaser. The Shlamim that I'm bringing were purchased with the money of Maaser. Av Todah nami en gufan Maaser. Also Todah I can bring with the money of Maaser. Ve'anichitei halakochot b'maot Maaser Sheni nami en gufan Maaser. And this wheat that I bought, also bought it from the money of Maaser. In other words, I can only use the proceeds. I cannot use the body itself. That would be the way the Mishnah goes or Rabbi Zera goes. Rabbi Yirmiyah says, "Ematama didi." However, I hold you can't even use the money. How? Todah me'echake alefin Allah mishalamim. I agree. Todah you learn from Shalamim. Same family, same pasuk. No argument there. However, Shlamim you learn from Maaser, right? Also. However, the comparison that you did is not the comparison that I'm doing. What's my comparison? מה שלמים אין מין מעשר, אף תודה נמה אין מין מעשר. להפוק חיטין הלקוחות במעות מעשר שני, דמין מעשר נינו. He says, whatever I buy with the money has to be something that doesn't have a maaser obligation on it. So think about it. There's no maaser on animals, right? So if you're buying shlamim have no maaser obligation. Todah has no maaser obligation. However, if I will allow you to buy chitim with the money, chitim belong to a type of food that has a maaser obligation on. In general, chitim, you're supposed to pay. You're supposed to give maaser from. So therefore, you cannot use chitim. That's his study. Well, the question is, if you cannot use even the money that you got from the chitim, then what are you going to use? If you said, according to the Mishnah, we said, Hive lachma mina maaser. I'm going to bring the toda and the bread for maaser. And we said, the Mishnah specifically says, you cannot use the wheat, you have to use the money that you got from redeeming the wheat. So according to Rabbi Yirmiyah, what are you going to do with the breads? You can't use the wheat. Everybody agrees. Rabbi Yirmiyah says you can't even use the money now. So how are you going to do it? So Rashi gives us a very, very brief answer. He says, it's the first short line in Rashi. I'll just read it. מה שלמים דמין מעשר נינו, אלא יביא ממעות המעשר, ויקח חלות לתודתו. ואנה לא הבו מין מעשר. He said, you should take the money, and instead of buying wheat to make his own chalot, you should buy the chalot. Buy the bread already ready. And the bread doesn't have an obligation of maaser on it, because it's not wheat. Wheat, when it was wheat, already had the obligation of maaser, so maaser was taken care of, so you can use the bread. That's his solution. There's another solution here, but this is I would say, the simpler solution. Now we're going into a similar sugya, and it has to do, I'll just do a brief introduction so it will flow easy. If I have the money of maaser, again, we had the $800 worth of crop, I sold it, I redeemed it, and I had to add a fifth, now I have $1,000. And I'm going to Yerushalayim with it, and the rabbis allowed us, well, the pasuk allows you to use it for almost anything in Yerushalayim, as long as you enjoy it in Yerushalayim. The rabbis tried to narrow it and said, use it for shlamim. Shlamim is a good thing. Everybody's happy with shlamim, because the mizbeach is busy, the kohanim are busy, you're busy. What happened if you took that money to Yerushalayim, the $1,000, and you did one of the two? One, you said, I'm going to buy with this $1,000 animals for shlamim, a lamb for shlamim. You didn't buy it yet. Just, I'm going to buy with it. Or you bought with it. Two options. So we're talking about the first option. Then we'll talk about the second option. What's the difference between the two options? Amar Rabbi Yami, hamatpis ma'ot ma'aser sheni leshalamim, lo kanu shalamim. Somebody says, I'm going to use this $1,000 of the ma'aser sheni for shlamim. I'm going to buy an animal for shlamim. As long as he hasn't bought the shlamim, he can still change his mind and use it for anything else. Why? He would think he has to use it for shlamim. My ta'ama, de lo alima kedushat hashalamim lemecha la kedushat ma'aser sheni. He says, in the levels of kedusha, maaser sheni is superior to shlamim. Just saying it doesn't take it out of maaser sheni and puts it in the shlamim category, in a different category of a lower category of kedusha. Just saying it is not enough. However, by the way, if you bought an animal for shlamim, and you said, you buy an animal with this is shlamim, then it's shlamim. You cannot say, now I'm going to change it and use it for something else.
What about the fact that you're sort of making like a nether, right? You're like bonding yourself verbally for the matter.
According to this, the moment if you're just using words and you haven't converted the money yet to shlamim, you cannot just make it an inferior kedusha by words. It remains at the whole.
Don't work your words. That's
his opinion. There'll be other opinions here that will actually go to you and say no, it doesn't apply. But that's the halacha, by the way. Metive. Now this question is kind of like from left field. This guy, I'll read it and then I'll do the. This is a brighta. Some guy, really confused individual, comes to Yerushalayim. He's got the $1,000 that we spoke about. He buys with some of the money a deer, and he says, this deer is for shlamim. And with the rest of the money, he buys lamb for barbecue.
Upside down.
Yeah, Upside down. Now we know there's one problem with first problem is you cannot bring shlamim from a chaya. From deer is not good for shlamim. It has to be bakar or tzom. And the question is, what happens now? So this, from the initial reading of this braita, lo yetzea or lechulin. What do you understand? The skin. Let's talk about the first portion, the deer. The skin of the deer does not have a chulin status. Does not have any kedusha. It has some kedusha. Question is, what kind of kedusha does it have? So from the initial understanding, the Gemara says they're learning from this. And then they're going to reject it. So if I took the money and I said, and I bought with it a deer, and I said this deer is for shalamim, the logical thing would be I did nothing. It's like I bought with it a cup, and I said this cup is for shalamim. You cannot do this. It doesn't work. So why does it say lo yatzeh lechulin? The Gemara understands that it means to say that the skin remains in its kedusha of shlamim. That's the initial, just from the initial reading. It doesn't go to chulin. Doesn't say it insinuates. It adds it in. Lav lememra dekane shlamim doesn't mean that the skin has the. In other words, you took this deer now. What do you do with the deer? You have to sell the deer, and use that money for shlamim, right? Question is, when you sell the deer, what do you do with the value of the skin? Why are they asking about the value of the skin? Because that's something I should have mentioned before. When you bring a shalamim with the money of the mema aser sheni, you're allowed to keep the skin. You would think you cannot keep the skin because it's all the mema aser sheni. But when you think about it, they really haven't given you much because they already fined you 25%. So technically, it's like a tax refund. You're getting back. You're getting something back for doing a korban. You're keeping the skin, but the skin was never. I mean, when you, valuation-wise, they made you add 25% anyway. So. Yeah, no, it's you add 25%, and then you do the shlamim, and then the skin is yours. But here, theoretically, you understand that the skin still has some kedusha of shlamim. So how does that work? That means that ma'ot ma'aser sheni, if I convert the money of ma'aser sheni to shlamim, to just a promise to use it for shlamim, because the deer is not shlamim. It's like converting dollars to shekels, as far as the Gemara says. It's like you've done nothing. It has shlamim. No, that's not what he meant. He didn't mean that the skin now still has a kedusha of shlamim. Now there's two explanations to the answer here. I'll go with the simpler one. He says what he means is lo yetzea or lechulin, the skin will not come out of kedushat maaser sheni. That's the last explanation in Rashi and also Rabbeinu Gershom. In other words, now this deer that you bought for $1,000, take the $1,000, the value of the deer, and all of it now has kedushat maaser sheni. You're not getting a prize here that you messed up, and you're going to take the skin now and say, well, the skin is actually should have been yours if it was shlamim. So we're back. No, the whole thing is maaser sheni. So this is also not a good proof. This is not a good proof to reject Rabbi Ami. We're still having the same view. That if you just said I'm going to use this money for shlamim, you've done nothing. You can still do it you can still use it for anything else. We're going to now go through it again. Idma, amad pis ma'od ma'aser sheni le'shlamim. Now we have a machloket. Rabbi Ami told us this as if it's the halacha. Now we have a machloket. Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Yochanan amar kane. He says, yeah. Now it has the status of shlamim, the money, even though you haven't bought with it. Rabbi Eliezer Omer lo kane. No. And what's their machloket? The machloket originates from a prior machloket Tanaim. Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda. Actually, I think we mentioned this some pages before, if I remember correct. What is the status of the money of Maaser Sheni? What is Maaser Sheni? So Rabbi Yehuda says Mamon Idiot. He says it's holy, but it's not that holy. And Rabbi Meir says Mamon Gavoa. It actually belongs to God, and therefore it has a very high level of kedusha. Lemay nafkamina. What's the difference? Apparently, the difference is the Rashi brings them up in Kiddushin, Masechet Kiddushin. What happens with a guy who has mamon maaser sheni and goes to a woman and says, "I'm maret mikudeshet li with this money," and he used maaser sheni money. Well, it depends. If it's Rabbi Yehuda, that's mamon idiot. Technically, it holds. She only has one problem. She has to only spend that money in Yerushalayim. Yeah. According to Rabbi Meir,
on our own dime to get there.
yeah, and according to Rabbi Meir, it's not going to fly because it's Mamon Gavoa. Okay, so Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Eliezer have machloket about this situation. Does converting the money from just saying Mamon Maaser Sheni that you're going to use it for Shlamim, does it change the status now to Shlamim or not? So the Gemara explains. Ali bade Rabbi Yehuda de Amar Maaser Mamon Idiotu dechule alma lo plige dekane. It's obvious that they are not arguing according to Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda says Mamon Idiot. That means if you can convert, if you can do kiddushin with it, you can definitely buy Shlamim. You can definitely say that it converts to the kedusha of Shlamim. Obvious. Ki pligi ali bade Rabbi Meir. De Amar Maaser Mamon Gavoahu. Man de Amar lo kane. Ki Rabbi Meir. Well, whoever says it doesn't hold, it's like Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Meir says it's Mamon Gavoa. Mamon Gavoa, and Maaser Sheni is at a higher level. Doesn't work. Uman de Amar kane, but that says that it does hold. It does change to Shlamim. He says, yeah. Kevan de Maaser karele Shlamim ki mitpaset v'nam metapis. He says, if you were buying with it Shlamim, it would become Shlamim. So also, if you just dedicated it for Shlamim, it would be Shlamim. I agree with you. It's Mamon Gavoa, but it's not that Gavoa. Now, by the way, we had a previous sugya where same thing with the Kedushin with Chelek of the Korban. A Kohen, we said a Kohen cannot negotiate, cannot take his Korban. He's owed an arm or something. He says, I'm going to give you this for that, and we're going to switch. And we said, why? Because it's Mamon Gavoa. It's not yours to give away. And the nafkamina there also was that you cannot make Kedushin with the meat that you got in the Korban. Same concept. Metive. Now, we're going to bring a Braita that's going to, this is again, to try and question Rabbi Ami. Hamatpis ma'ot ma'aser sheni l'shelamim. Same thing, person who has a ma'ot ma'aser sheni and says, I'm going to use it for shelamim. Never bought shelamim with it yet. Keshehu podan, mosif aleim shnei chomashim. Echad le'ekdesh, ve'echad le'ma'aser. So this guy said, I'm going to use this money for shlamim. Now, he doesn't want to use this money for shlamim. He had Maaser Sheni money. And then he wants to convert it to Shilamim. And then he decides, you know what? I'm not going to use it for Shilamim. So this Braita tells us, yeah, you can change. You can take the money and use it for something. However, you have to pay fine twice. One fine for taking it out of Maaser Sheni, and one fine for taking it out of Shalamim, and each one is a chomesh. Now, I'm not sure if it's the chomesh on the chomesh, like I don't know if you go from 800 to 1,000, then you go to 1,250, or you go with the 200. So,
Double taxation.
yeah, I'm not so sure how does it work. So, it's a question because we just learned that there's no kedusha when you convert.
Like Englewood.
Mi savar divrei akoli. He says no. This is Amani Rabbi Yehuda. This is not a proof. This is probably according to Rabbi Yehuda that says it's Mamon Idiot. And Mamon Idiot, obviously, if Maaser Sheni has the status of Mamon Idiot, definitely you can convert it to Shlam. You convert it to Shlam, you have to pay twice. That's your fine.
But I thought it was like a native. You already have a native. How could you change it and
You have to redeem it. That's what you're fined. You have to pay an additional 20% or 25%, and then with that money you can do something else.
the money talks?
Here,
When you
yeah.
have hekdesh, right? To
redeem from you pay a fifth.
So that's the thing.
Yeah, because Shlamim are hekdesh.
Yeah.
Shlamim are hekdesh. That's exactly it. You got Maaser Sheni first kedusha, then Shlamim. You have hekdesh twice.
About that, you're supposed to use Maaser Sheni for a shlamim. Is that like a drush or something, or they're just saying it's a nice idea?
No, originally my understanding is that originally you're allowed to use Maaser Sheni almost for anything in Yerushalayim, even for barbecue.
Right.
Psar ta'ava. That's what you can about Psar ta'ava. However, I think Chacham narrowed it down. They wanted you more to do shlamim. If you're going to buy meat, otherwise,
So it's like a real law in a sense.
I think it's mid rabbanan. If you're going to buy meat,
Yeah,
use it for a korban.
Right. Offer first, then eat it.
Yeah, I think it's mid rabbanan. Yeah. Okay.
Offer and then eat it. Right.
Now this Mishnah kind of repeats the last Mishnah, but it has an interesting twist. Yeah. Minayin la'omer harei alai toda shelo yavi ela min hachulin. Person who says harei alai toda has to bring only from the chulin, which is exactly like we learned before. Somebody who makes a neder, I'm going to bring toda. And by the way, Rashi a couple pages ago says, think about it. How can you be obligated toda? Either you said harei alai toda, or the other option, you're obligated to bring. When are you obligated to bring toda? It's the same instances, so you're obligated to say birkat hagomel. So technically, if you're going through the desert, or a person was ill, or he flew, whatever, technically you're supposed to bring to korban todah today. Right. So can you imagine you have to bring, 40 breads and the whole thing.
They didn't travel as much.
שלא יביא אלא מן החולין.
Kiddush.
Yeah, it's a big kiddush. שלא יביא אלא מן החולין. You have to bring only from the חולין. תלמוד לומר, where did you learn that from? פסוק, וזבחת פסח להשם אלוקיך, צאן ובקר. We know that you don't bring Pesach from the bakar. There's no cows in Pesach, only צאן. והלא פסח אין בה אלא מן הכבשים ומן העזים. So what does it mean בקר? אלא אם כן, מה תלמוד לומר צאן ובקר? להקיש. כל הבא מן הצאן ומן הבקר לפסח. מה הפסח? דבר שבחובה ואינו בא אלא מן החולין, אף כל דבר שבחובה אינו בא אלא מן החולין. Just like Pesach has to come from the chulin, any other korban has to come from the chulin. And we'll learn in a minute, what do we learn that Pesach has to come from the chulin? Because there's an assumption here. לפיכך, אומר הרי עלי תודה, we're repeating ourselves again, הרי עלי של עמים, הואיל ובאין חובה, because now they are an obligation, you technically made a neder, לא יביאו אלא מן החולין, have to come from the chulin, you cannot use דמי מעשר שני for it. And then this is the chiddush for the end, ונסחים, בכל מקום לא יביאו אלא מן החולין. The wine can never come from מעשר שני, always has to come from chulin. Why? Rashi explains, also later on, because the wine, whatever you use for מעשר שני money, you have to eat. There got to be some part of eating, enjoying. The yain is spilled all of it on the mizbeach. There's no eating or drinking by anyone. Pesach. Before we go here, we'll just small it again so it will flow easy. There's three terms here, three types of Pesachs. There's Pesach Mitzrayim, Pesach Dorot, and Pesach Mitzrayim, Pesach Midbar, and Pesach Dorot. Pesach Mitzrayim is the Pesach that they did in Mitzrayim once. It's very unique. The only time a korban was done in your own backyard. And the only time you put the blood on the mezuzot and the mashkov, there was no mizbeach, there was no nothing. And it also was done outside of Eretz Yisrael. Then you got Pesach Midbar. That's the one time they did Pesach in the Midbar. They were 40 years in the desert. They only did Pesach once. The second year. After the Mishkan was built, they did Chanukat HaMishkan, Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Then there were a couple of days for the Korbanot Miluim that we keep on reading about, El Miluim, everything. After that, we had 12 days for the 12 Nesiim. Everyone brought their Korban. 14th day was Pesach. That's the day that they did the Pesach. The only time they did the Pesach in the Midbar. And that's where they were asked about Pesach Sheni. Remember, people were Tmeim, and so on. So that's Pesach Midbar. And then we have Pesach Dorot. That's the Pesach they did in Bet HaMikdash. That's where every Jew is obligated to go to Bet HaMikdash and be a part of a group that buys a lamb, sacrifices it, eats at least kazait, Pesach. Now, think about it. Pesach Dorot only did it once. Pesach Midbar, they only did it once. So you would think, why did they only do it once? I mean, they had the Mishkan already. They could have done it every year for 39 years. And they only
the animals run around the desert.
That's a practical answer. Also, there was no matzot. Think about it. There was no wheat. There was man, but there was no matzot.
Same.
That's the practical answer. The Gemara in a couple of places says because they were not nimulim. A lot of kids, a lot of babies did not do brit milah because it's dangerous to do brit milah in the desert. And the moment you have in your family people that are not nimulim, you cannot bring a Pesach. Another explanation is because of Chet HaEgel. Chet HaEgel, they sinned on Chet HaEgel, and the sacrifice was not desired. That's what the Midrash says. L'may nafka mina, what's the difference between these two? Difference is for Bnei Levi. Bnei Levi, we know, did not participate in Chet HaEgel. Moshe says, Mila Hashem Elai, and only Bnei Levi joined him. So, actually, there's an opinion. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai opinion, I read it yesterday, actually says that Bnei Levi did Korban Pesach in the Midbar. The only ones that did it. Everybody else did not do it. So it depends how you... okay, but these are the three Pesachs. And by the way, Pesach Midbar was technically supposed to do Pesach only in Eretz Yisrael. Pesach Midbar was done in the Sinai, not in Eretz Yisrael. And so the rabbis also explained that if you look at the Gevulot of Eretz Yisrael according to Brit Ben Abtarim, in this last week's parsha, it specifically says it's from Yam Suf ad Yam Pelishtim, which is the Mediterranean. That's the entire Sinai area. That's why technically it was within the promised, the broadest scope of Eretz Yisrael. Not to mention, you don't want Moshe to come out a liar. What did Moshe tell Paro? I'm going to take them out. They're going to celebrate in the desert. The only celebration they did was Pesach. That was the only public holiday they had. So, these are all the reasons. And when do we learn that Pesach is Korban? Pesach has to be from the Chulin. Betanya Rabbi Eliezer Omer, Ne'emar Pesach B'Mitzrayim, Ve'ne'emar Pesach Ledorot. Now we know what these terms are, right? מה פסח האמור במצרים לא בא אלא מן החולין, אף פסח האמור לדורות לא בא אלא מן החולין. He's got I would say it's a binyanav. I don't think it's a really a gzera shava. He says Pesach in Mitzrayim and Pesach Dorot. But his study is a little, he says Pesach in Mitzrayim had to come from the Chulin. There was no Maaser Sheni. Nobody had wheat that was obligated on Maaser Sheni. So, because Pesach Mitzrayim has to be Chulin, Pesach Dorot has to be Chulin. אמר לו רבי עקיבא, the obvious question. וכי דיינים אפשר משי אפשר? You're telling me that you're going to study from Pesach, and this is the only thing you're studying. Just min hachulin, nothing else. No, you put the blood on the mezuzot, nothing. You're just studying this basic thing that has to be from the chulin. Amar lo, Rabbi Eliezer answers him, Af al pi she'i efshar, you're right. It's the reality of Maaser Sheni did not exist in Pesach Mitzrayim, even though re'aya gdola even ilmad emena. It's the first time we learned about Pesach. It only came from the Chulin, and therefore forever it has to be from the Chulin. Rabbi Akiva now is asking another question. Chazar Rabbi Akiva ודנו דין אחר. מה לפסח מצרים שכן אין טעון מתן דמים ואומרים לגבי המזבח? תאמר, בפסח דורו שטעון מתן דמים ואומרים לגבי המזבח? He says, okay. Pesach Mitzrayim, you took the blood, you put it on the doorposts. Pesach Dorot, you had a Korban, a Mizbeach, you did proper Imurin, everything. How can you compare the two? Amar lo, Rabbi Eliezer answers, Arei hu omer, he says, you know what, I'm going to give you a pasuk. The pasuk is, ve'avat et ha'avodah azot b'chodesh hazeh. Read the pasuk, decide there, ve'aya ki yeviach Hashem el ha'eretz ha'knani, ha'chiti, ha'amori, ve'achivi, ve'ayivusi, asher nishba la'avotecha latet la'ach. This is a pasuk that is mentioned in the Pesach story. The original Pesach Mitzrayim, Eretz Zavad Chalav Udvash, ve'avadta et ha'avodah azot b'chodesh. You should do this work on this month when you get to Israel. So, shiyu kol avodot shel chodesh hazeh kazeh. All the works of this month have to be like this. So I'm learning. This is what I'm learning. The obligation that you can only use it for chulin. So, the Gemara has a problem with the way Rabbi Akiva structured his questions. Why? Rabbi Akiva. For Rabbi Akiva holds that you cannot study something that is possible from the impossible, like this Pesach Dorot from Pesach Mitzrayim. They should have just ended there. That's your question. I disagree with you. You hold Yigdah. I disagree with you. Why did he go to the second question? V'yadarbe, and if he says, okay, you know what? Okay, you can do that kind of study. However, he didn't learn from Pesach Mitzrayim mishum hay pircha, because of the question of the blood, that there was no blood on the Mizbeach. Pesach Midbar yochiach. Pesach Midbar is an example that you had Mizbeach, and still you did not have the reality of Maaser Sheni, right? So, לדבריו, the Gemara answers, לדבריו דרבי אליעזר כאמר. This is the way you're supposed to read Rabbi Akiva. He was saying it, according to you, Rabbi Eliezer, and this is the way you should read it. Ledidi, according to me, and then in Efshar Mishya. Rabbi Akiva says, I cannot study Efshar from the Efshar. I disagree with you. However, according to you, that you could study Pesach Dorot from Pesach Mitzrayim, דאמר דנין אפשר משי אפשר. מה לפסח מצרים שכן טעון מתן דמים ואמורים לגבי המזבח? תאמר בפסח דורות שטעון מתן דמים ואמורים לגבי המזבח. You can't compare because of the situation with the blood. The blood was on the posture, the blood is on the mizbeach, two different things. Then Rabbi Eliezer says, okay, I got another pasuk for you. I'm not even going there. Ve'avata. I'm learning from the word, from this hekesh of ve'avata. Now the Gemara goes the other way. Rabbi Eliezer has an obvious answer to that. What's his answer? Lemale Pesach Midbar yochiach. Rabbi Akiva, your question about the blood is, I don't have to go for the pasuk ve'avata. Why? Your question about the blood is irrelevant. Because we have Pesach Midbar. We had a Mizbeach. And we had the blood. And we did everything properly. Just like we would do in Pesach Dorot. Just like we would do in Bet HaMikdash. He says no. You have to reread Rabbi Eliezer, that he was talking even according to Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva ka'amar le. We'll read it now again. It's the same thing, just with a slight twist. Ledidi, danin efshar mishi efshar. According to me, you can study Pesach Dorot from Pesach Mitzrayim. I have no problem with it, Rabbi Eliezer says. Umishum ay pircha Pesach Midbar yochiach. In your question about the blood, it's not a question. Why? Because Pesach Midbar, we had a Pesach in the Midbar. and we did the blood exactly according to the rules of Pesach Dorot. We everything. So your question about that you cannot compare it because the process of the Korban is different is irrelevant. Ledidach, but according to you, even according to you, Rabbi Akiva, the Amart en danin efshar misha. You said you cannot study efshar from the efshar, so you cannot study Pesach Dorot from Pesach Mitzrayim or from Pesach Midbar. You can't study. Why? Because there was no Maser Sheni in either of the first two. I give you the pasuk of ve'avata. That's where I need the pasuk of ve'avata. Now, if you look at the pasuk of ve'avata, it doesn't really say anything about chulin. The pasuk says, "Vayakev v'achar el saknani achiti ha'emuri v'achivi v'ayivusi asher nishba lavodecha letlach ezra v'dvash ve'avata et ha'avoda azot b'chodesh hazeh." That's all it says. So the Gemara asks the obvious question: V'hashtana melifu. You could just tell him, this is, where is your study from? And Rashi actually says it. I mean, I wouldn't think about it, but I would think it has some basis. But Rashi says, Lifuch, I'm going to read it. Rabbi Akiva, v'chidani nefshar mishish, ve'aikra ve'avata, lo mashmale. It has, I don't study chulin from it. Da lo kativ beferush deba min chulin. Where do you hear in that pasuk that Pesach has to be from the chulin? Ela the alif me'akesha. The yehu kol avodot shel chodesh. Zeh kazeh. He says, you actually have a general study here of Hekesh. You're saying all the Pesachs in the future have to be like this Pesach. Why? It's a Hekesh. It's a comparison. Very similar to Gzerah Shava. But Rabbi Akiva is not questioning Rabbi Eliezer on it. And this is where we're coming to a very important principle that Rav Sheshet mentions here. Amar Rav Sheshet is also merit. En meshivin ala Hekesh. In other words, if a rabbi tells you, I learned this rule from Hekesh or Gzerah Shava, Rashi expands it, they're very similar. You cannot argue with it. You cannot try and refute the Hekesh by saying, well, it's not really the same, the word is not really, because he didn't really study it from there. Rashi says. He didn't make up this. This is most of the midot, Kal Vachomer, Rashi explains, Kal Vachomer, anybody can do. Anybody says, okay, this is the rule here. And this is much more severe, so if it applies on the Kal, it should definitely apply here. Hekesh and Gzerah Shava, you cannot just start studying halachot because there's similar words in two different psukim in the Torah. Can you imagine the balagan we're going to have? Everybody will...
Computer programs.
Oh, you can create a perpetual chain of stuff. I mean, you can study Pesach from Sukkot, Sukkot from Shavuot, Shavuot from Shabbat. It never ends. Technically, you can be matir everything or astir everything. So the only way you can study Hekesh and Gzerah Shava, you cannot invent it. You have to receive it from your rabbis. It's Masoret. It goes all the way back to Moshe Rabbeinu. In other words, every Hekesh and Gzerah Shava that we hear, there's got to be some Masoret that it goes all the way back to Har Sinai. It wasn't something that was made up by any rabbi at any point in time. Which actually means, I read somewhere, that it actually means that the Hekesh and the Gzerah Shava are actually just a way to remember the halacha. Because it's irrelevant. You can't ask a question on it. It's why? Because of these two words. But it doesn't. I don't care. Moshe Rabbeinu gave us that. So it's just a way to remember the halacha. אמר רב ששת אומרת, הם משובים על ההיקש. ובתרביצה אמור, ותרביצה is, it's an interesting word, I never saw it before. תרביצה, it's from Rashi Tosfot. תרביצה להרביץ בתורה. It's a nice word for yeshiva. Tosfot says it was a word that was actually added to the version of the Gemara later on, after the Gemara was already signed. In other words, by what they call the Savoraim, not the Moraim. ותרביצה אמור, וכי דבר הלמד מהיקש חוזר מלמד בהיקש. And then we have another rule. Just like the concept of Hekesh is it only works one level. A and B are the same, therefore B is like A because of a similar word, a similar phrase, a similar concept. But now you cannot say, okay, B and C now also are similar, and therefore A equals C. A equals B, and then you cannot say, okay, but B equals C in a certain way, so now we'll do A is also C.
That would be more like Gzerah Shava?
Gzerah Shava and Hekesh are very similar.
So what's the actual difference between Hekesh and Gzerah Shava?
That's a good question. I've read maybe 5 different things. What's the difference? Gzerah Shava, you actually need the actual word, I think. In Hekesh, it's more of a concept. Because there's no words here. There's no... in this pasuk, it says, "V'avata et avodah azot b'chodesh hazeh." It's just a concept. Gzerah Shava, you actually have, like, in the word sham sham. Exactly. We had sham here, we had sham there, the same word, and therefore we apply the same rules.
I thought we said you can only apply a Hekesh one time only by Kachah, but for other things you could. we're saying daf by kachim, you can only.
Oh no, I think in general you cannot do hekesh. In general, you cannot do hekesh on a hekesh or gzera shava on a gzera shava and keep on creating a perpetual chain. And where do you have this here? Because Pesach Dorot, you're learning for Pesach Mitzrayim, right? From Vav, the pasuk ve'avata. That's the hekesh there, the ba min achulin. And then, what did you learn Todah? You learned Todah from Pesach Dorot. You learned Todah. We learned the beginning from hekesh from Pesach Dorot. So technically, it's a hekesh on a hekesh. Not to do hekesh on a hekesh. So they're saying the first hekesh is actually one. It's not really two hekesh. It's one because Pesach Mitzrayim and Pesach Dorot is actually. It's not really hekesh. It's the same group. You could Pesach compared to Todah, which is it's I wouldn't think of that, but that's the way they're phrasing it. Okay. בכלל, היית מהפסח כל אחד המילתאי. ורבי עקיבא, well, this gets into hold on. Okay, we'll do it just a couple of until it doesn't change topic. ורבי עקיבא, פסח דנו בא אלא מן החולין מן עלה. And Rabbi Akiva, where does he study that Pesach? Because Pesach, where does the Pesach only come from? Rabbi Akiva agrees Pesach can only come from the Chulin. But where does he study it from? We had Rabbi Eliezer with his Hekesh. Nafkale meha, de'amar Shemuel mishum Rabbi Eliezer. We have a pasuk in bed, Zot HaTorah, la'olah, la'mincha, la'chata'a, la'asham, la'miluim, lu'zevach ha'shelamim. It's a very general pasuk. This is the rules of the olah, the mincha, l'chatat, la'asham, la'miluim, zevach ha'shelamim. Olah. Ma ola teuna keli, af kol taun keli. Ola requires a kli, doesn't really explain what kind of kli. Af kol, all the korbanot requires the keli. Mai, ilima mazrek, does it mean it requires the mazrek? That's what you use to spill the blood. Rabbi Zev Reichman tzibur na mektiv, vayasem ba'aganot. We already know that. We don't need this pasuk because we have in Parashat Mishpatim, I believe. If you look at the pasuk, ויקח משה חצי אדם וישם באגנות וחצי אדם זרק על המזבח. That's where we are learning that זריקת אדם. Moshe actually did that. אלא סכין. This is actually saying, where do you study that you have to actually do a shechita on the olah or on the korbanot? Why can't you just do melika like you do to a bird? Olah gufa min halan. We're learning that olah requires a sakin. This is an amazing study. We'll finish here. דכתיב וישלח אברהם את ידו ויקח את המאכלת לשחוט את בנו. We learned that we need sakin for makedat Yitzchak. And Yitzchak was olah. ואתם olah הוא. דכתיב ויעלהו לעולה תחת בנו. That's amazing when you think about it. That's where they study that you have to use a knife for korban. And the fact that Avraham was the first one, I guess, that we have was actually preparing for a korban. He was using it specifically. It says "Vayikach et ha'ma'achelet lishchot et beno." That's what we're learning. We need a knife.
A little tough to kill a cow with a.
Yeah.
Well, you can use it many different ways when you think about it.
Shaya.
Amen. 6:34.
Okay, we can get to Yisrael off by that time. With you, we should be done. We can be done. We should be done.
By 6:34, you finish everything.
We should. There's no reason. You know, if you think about it, by the way, all of you who are Daf Yomi people, think about this. Do you think the rabbi
the assistant rabbi's here. No, I'm shut up.
wanted you to look most
No,
of the
no,
Daf
no,
Yomi
no,
objective
no.
you do.
Hypothetical. Okay? Just hypothetical.